Hello and welcome to GLG111, Geologic Disasters and the Environment Laboratory online. My name is Todd Luther and I'll be your instructor for this class. So this is a 1 credit laboratory class. It is associated with the Geology 110 class, which is the lecture portion. Both are online. They are designed to be taken together, but they're not required. So you'll have a lecture portion that's a 3 credit class that you'll receive a grade for, and the 1 credit laboratory that you'll receive a grade for. You don't have to take them together. Most people do, but you don't have to. So if you are taking just this lab, you're still okay. So this video is just a quick overview of the class and Canvas. So if you're in the lecture, you may have seen the video about how Canvas works. There'll be a little overlap here. Though the class is similar, there are some differences in how the laboratory is run, so you want to pay attention. So if you've taken an online class before at Mesa Community College, you'll hopefully be comfortable with how Canvas works. Some general guidelines. These are the navigation tools over here on the left. You can access your other classes, due dates, courses, and your inbox for your email. And then these navigation tools here are associated with the class itself. So what you'll want to notice in the main home page here is there is a to-do list for you. It tells you what's coming up, when they're due. So you should definitely pay attention to these. Most people run into trouble just because they forget when things are due. So make sure you use that. You can start with the start here or anywhere here just to navigate around, but the start here link is just taking to a general overview of the class and how it works. Eventually, you'll want to make your way to the syllabus, which you can access through this link here or the one over here on the left. And this will give you the specifics of how the class will work. My information, Todd Luther, I'll be your instructor, and my phone number, you can email me, and it'll run through software that you'll need and how the lab is set up, grades, policies, and things like that, typical of other syllabi you've probably looked at, and then some general information about online classes. So what I want to point out for this is the similarities with the lecture are that the modules is where you'll spend most of your time, and those modules will be unlocked every week. And so there will be 16 modules, 1 per week. You'll have a week to do the assignments. They will unlock on Saturday at 6 a.m. and everything will be due by Friday at midnight. And so the thing that's different about the labs here is that you'll see this complete all items that's highlighted here. What that means is that I know it's grayed out on a few of these because they're still locked, but every week you'll have a lab to do and a quiz to take over the lab material. But prior to that, there's a bunch of pages that give you some information explaining how to do the lab or giving you some maps or things that you'll need for the lab. So you'll need to click through each of these pages before you can access this. So in this very first one, you can't get to the lab, and so people will be like, I can't access it. You got to click through these pages preceding it in order to access the lab. So in this one, it's just a quick overview of what to expect from the class, and then you can hit next. It will take you into the lab. So how all the labs will work. They'll all be worth 50 points. You'll have a week to do all of them, and then you will have unlimited attempts to complete the lab. There is no time limit here because the idea, different from the lecture, is we want you to try to apply some of the knowledge that you're acquiring in this class. And so that might mean that we're asking you to go to some of the software we talked about, Google Earth being something we'll use a lot. And so in this lab, we're asking you to launch Google Earth, upload a file into Google Earth, and read the information in that file. So basically, I'm testing whether you can do that. And so this is why we want you to kind of work your way through here and answer the questions. The question numbers will vary, but the points will always be 50 points. Once you've worked your way through all the questions, you feel confident in your answers, you'll come down here and submit the quiz. It will be auto-graded, and so it'll quickly give you a score. And at that point, you have a decision to make. You can decide to keep that score and move along. You'll be happy with that. Or you can retake the lab. and it will only keep the highest score that you've achieved. So if you went through this and there were some questions you were struggling with, you can come back and change your answer and then resubmit to improve your score. The other idea is that, of course, if you're working through here, because there's no time limit and you're stuck on something, you could throw me a quick email and ask me, hey, look, I'm on, lab 1 and question 9. I have no idea what this means. Can you help me? Then hopefully I can respond quickly and give you some information that'll help you answer the question correctly. And so that's how we'll work through the labs every week, is take your time, answer the questions, submit, and then redo if you feel that's necessary. So once you're happy with your score, you feel that you understand the content that was in the lab itself, you'll then take a quiz. So every module, once you work your way through the information, will have a lab portion. It's worth 50 points, and that's the untimed, unlimited attempts version. And then you'll take a quiz over the content that was in the lab. These quizzes are timed. And so here I'm testing that you understood what you did in the lab itself. And that's going to be every week. A lab portion, a quiz portion. So if you did the lab and you understood what you did in the lab, the quizzes should not be a problem, right? So it's a check to see if you understood the content. Now be aware that although the point totals are different, they are weighted the same. What that means is your scores on the lab will be 50% of your grade, and the scores on your quizzes will be 50% of your grade. And so you can't just, take the lab 67 times to get a good score. If you didn't understand anything, then you will not do well in the quizzes, and it would be difficult to pass the class. So you need to understand what you learned in the lab so that you can do well on the quizzes. And that'll be how the format of the labs throughout the semester. Like I mentioned in the lecture portion, the first couple labs here will not coincide with the lecture material because we have to introduce you to how to read maps and things that we'll use within the lab itself. But once we get to the 4th week, rocks and minerals is the same content we'll be covering in lecture, and then everything will sync up. The 5th week, we'll do plate tectonics in lecture and lab, and then we'll do volcanoes in lecture and lab, and that'll stay consistent throughout the remainder of the course. So the final thing I'll mention is this first week, there is this kind of get started module. And one thing that you'll need to do is to acknowledge the syllabus here. And so you'll have to click this. It's a short little quiz that's really just an acknowledgement that, yes, I read the syllabus and I understand it. And so you'll want to do that. It is actually due on the Wednesday, the 16th. It's just so that I can see that you're actually participating in the class and that you still want to be in the class, because that Friday, the 18th, is when your first official module is due, which is that introduction module. So this one here. So when you first get here, make sure you read through the syllabus, understand it, feel comfortable with what's expected of you. And then you'll want to come over here and acknowledge that syllabus here. This introduction is just an optional quiz. It's basically just asking you if you have any concerns or things that you want me to be aware of while you're taking the class. You can submit that there, and that way I can take a look at it, and then hopefully I can help you overcome some issues or concerns that you might have with the class. So that's what that is for. So this should be just a no-brainer, really quick. This is the official first module of the class that has actually a lab and a quiz associated with it, which will be the format throughout the remainder of the class. So I'm thinking that that's mostly what I wanted to talk to you about in this little video. So if you have any questions or concerns, of course, feel free to contact me. Just go through the email here in Canvas. I have, all this pushed to my phone, so usually I can see it pretty quickly, and I really do try to get back to you as fast as possible so that you can get some feedback and work your way through the class. So don't hesitate to do that. Other than that, I think we're good. So hope you enjoy the class, and good luck.